Tell me why you feel you need to be accepted. Every day, all over the world, millions of people wake up and immediately begin a silent performance. They change who they are, hide what they really believe, walk paths that aren't theirs, sacrifice their peace just to fit in. And why? Because deep down, whether consciously or unconsciously, they crave one thing: acceptance. We long for approval, validation, applause, belonging, that nod that says you're enough. But here's the hidden truth no one told us. The desire for acceptance, if left unchecked, becomes a prison, a beautiful illusion that traps the soul. Today, we're going deep beneath the surface. Why the need for acceptance silently controls us, my personal story, and how I broke free from it, ancient spiritual teachings and timeless wisdom, real world examples of people who rose above needing validation, the emotional cost of living for others, and 10 powerful steps to reclaim your alignment and live in truth. By the end of this video, I promise you'll see clearly you were not born to be accepted. You were born to be aligned. My personal struggle with wanting to be accepted. This is not just theory. I lived it. Early in my life, I constantly sought the approval of others. I wanted to make my parents proud. I craved validation from my teachers. I hoped my friends would always like me. I needed people to think I was doing well. Later, when I entered the business world, that same hunger followed me. I wanted clients to see me as capable. I wanted peers to see me as successful. I wanted the world to acknowledge me. And when success came, for a moment I felt accepted. The applause felt good. The praise felt affirming. Being recognized became addictive, but then came the fall. In 2008, my businesses collapsed. Bankruptcy, public failure, health problems, and silence from the very people whose approval once fueled me. That's when it hit me like a storm. If your identity is based on being accepted by others, your soul is in danger. Because the moment they walk away, your foundation crumbles. Why do we crave acceptance? This isn't just personal, it's human. Biological wiring. Our ancestors survived in tribes. Being accepted meant being protected. Rejection could mean death. Childhood conditioning. From a young age, we were rewarded for obedience, for fitting in, for not making waves. Fear of being alone. Solitude can be scary when you don't know your true self. Insecurity in identity. When we're unsure of who we are, we let others define it for us. The constant need for external validation, likes, follows, praise, compliments, these things become our drug. But at its root, the need for acceptance grows from one thing: fear, the dangers of seeking acceptance. When your life is ruled by the hunger to be accepted, several things begin to happen. You live for others, not for yourself. You make decisions that please the crowd, not your soul. You silence your real voice. You avoid your true calling because it might offend. You exhaust yourself trying to keep up appearances. You build anxiety, not peace. The most tragic part: the more you chase acceptance, the emptier you feel. It's a hunger that never ends, a thirst that no applause can quench. A classic story: the chameleon. There once was a chameleon who had mastered the art of changing colors. Whenever it was on green grass, it turned green. When on brown bark, it turned brown. It kept shifting, adjusting, blending, so it would never stand out or be seen as different. But one day, it landed on a multicolored rug. Confused by all the patterns, it panicked. It didn't know what color to become. It was overwhelmed, and for the first time, it froze. Not because of fear, but because it had lost itself. When you change too much for others, you forget your own color. Spiritual teachings on acceptance versus alignment. Every spiritual tradition, when studied deeply, points to this same principle. You weren't created to be liked by all. You were created to live in truth. Christianity, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. Islam, the one who seeks the pleasure of people at the cost of Allah's displeasure earns his wrath. Hadith. Hinduism, Gita, the wise remain detached from praise or blame. Gita 2:57. Buddhism, equanimity, teaches indifference to both approval and rejection. Balance, not applause, is the goal. Sikhism, those who walk in the will of God care not for the world's opinions. Guru Granth Sahib, modern examples of breaking free from acceptance. Let's bring this into today's world. Steve Jobs. He was told he was too demanding, too different, but he built Apple with his vision, not for approval. Elon Musk, mocked, misunderstood, criticized, yet he continues forward, building what most people can't even imagine. Oprah Winfrey, rejected early in her career, told she was unfit for television, but she stayed true to her purpose and became one of the most beloved figures in media. Their power didn't come from being liked, it came from being authentic. Let's pause right here. Ask yourself, am I changing myself just to be accepted? Have I silenced my truth just to keep peace? Am I living in alignment or am I performing? If this message is resonating, now's the time to affirm your path. Like this video, drop a comment saying, I choose alignment, and subscribe for more spiritual wisdom and raw truth. Let's go even deeper now, into the paradox that unlocks your freedom. The paradox, acceptance gained through non need. Here's one of life's most ironic truths. The less you crave acceptance, the more of it you attract. Why? Because authenticity is magnetic. Confidence in your alignment draws people in, not because you're trying to impress them, but because you don't need to. People respect those who live from the inside out. My transformation. After the collapse of my businesses, something inside me shifted. I was done performing. I was done explaining myself. I was done chasing applause. Instead, I returned to truth. I leaned on spiritual discipline. I stopped defending myself and let my actions speak. I walked in alignment, even if misunderstood. And you know what happened? Acceptance came, not from everyone, but from those who mattered. The ones aligned with my spirit. The ones who valued depth, not image. And the rest? Their noise faded. Another classic tale, the tree that stood firm. There once stood a tall tree in a forest. The winds came, strong, howling, destructive. Other trees bent, twisted, compromised, trying to survive. But this tree remained firm. People mocked it. You'll break if you don't bend. But the storm passed, and the bending trees snapped. Only the firm tree stood tall. When you stay rooted in truth, you may be shaken, but you will not fall. The hidden pain of needing acceptance. Let's expose what this addiction really does to you. Constant anxiety, fear of criticism, always walking on eggshells, emotional burnout, delayed dreams, deep identity confusion. Living for others is a slow spiritual death. The freedom of alignment, but when you walk in alignment, everything changes. Peace becomes your baseline. You think clearly, you make bolder choices, your relationships become authentic, you lose fear because truth is your shield, you grow because you've removed the shackles. Alignment doesn't just give you freedom, it gives you power. Here are now 10 powerful steps to break free from the need for acceptance. 1. Anchor your identity in God, not people. Your value is divine, not determined by applause. 2. Write your personal mission statement. Know why you're here and filter every decision through that purpose. 3. Expect to be misunderstood. Release the need for everyone to get you. 4. Stop explaining yourself to everyone. You're not a politician. Live your truth and let your fruit speak. 5, audit your circle. Surround yourself with people who want your soul to grow, not just your image to shine. 6, practice being alone. Solitude builds spiritual strength. 7, release the fear of rejection. Their rejection usually reflects their own wounds. 8, limit social media. Don't trade real life for curated applause. 9, read sacred texts. They remind you who you are beyond the noise. Pray for courage. Say, God, help me walk in truth even when it's unpopular. Let me share a traditional story, The Master and the Dogs. A wise master walked calmly through a village. Dogs barked loudly at him, vicious and loud. His student asked, "Why don't you yell back or defend yourself?" The master smiled and replied, "I don't answer barking dogs. I walk with my master." When you walk in alignment, you no longer need to respond to every opinion. The spiritual paradox of true acceptance. Here's the mystery. When you stop needing acceptance, you gain it. When you surrender approval, you find peace. When you align with God, you're never alone. Closing summary. Let's bring it all together. The need for acceptance is a trap. It's fear wearing a friendly mask. Every spiritual path calls us to live in truth, not popularity. Alignment brings freedom, peace, and power. Real love comes when you no longer perform to receive it. My final reflection. I once silenced my voice and hid my faith, performed to be liked, and I lost myself. But today, I speak clearly. I live aligned. I only seek one approval, God's. And in that space, I found my peace. You don't need the world to accept you. You just need to accept the truth of who you are. Call to action. If you're ready to break free from the addiction to approval, comment below. I choose alignment over acceptance. Like this video, subscribe for more wisdom, share it with someone struggling to be seen. And if you're on a path of inner power and truth, watch next. Speak only when necessary.